Let's jump right into this explainer and unpack a really fascinating framework from LandLimited. We're looking at the realities, the mechanics, and, of course, the risks of buying digital real estate in 2026. Because let's be honest, the idea of acquiring a sprawling 10-acre plot of actual physical land entirely through a screen, it feels radical, and yeah, maybe a little terrifying to some of us. But it's happening right now, and understanding exactly how it works is absolutely vital.
The source immediately tackles the elephant in the room with this essential question. Is it actually safe to buy land online? I mean, clicking a Buy Now button on a 5-acre property in Missouri or Alaska can feel like a massive leap of faith. Especially today, right? We're living in an era of deepfakes, phishing, and super sophisticated digital scams. So it's not just a good question to ask, it's a completely necessary one if you're looking at the modern land market.
To get to the bottom of that, we're going to follow the source's clear roadmap, spotting digital land scams, the direct-to-consumer model, how owner financing works, and remote due diligence.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Spotting Digital Land Scams, and the big red flags to watch out for. According to the company, before you even think about hitting that buy button, you absolutely must watch out for a few major red flags. The first is what they call the shadow seller. This is basically when the person selling the land can't actually prove they own it, or they aren't registered as a legit LLC. Red flag number 2, wire transfer pressure. You really want to actively avoid sellers who demand immediate wire transfers to personal accounts, especially, and I can't stress this enough, especially before any formal paperwork is signed. Those are massive warning signs of a fraudulent listing.
And then there's the final, and perhaps the most dangerous red flag of all, the ghost parcel. The source warns that if a listing doesn't have verifiable GPS coordinates or a legal description, there's a very real chance that the land just doesn't exist. If a seller can't provide an APN, that's an assessor's parcel number, along with the necessary maps, the advice is crystal clear: walk away immediately. It's just not worth risking your hard-earned capital on a ghost.
Moving right along to Section 2, the direct-to-consumer model and LandLimited safety standard.
So the source claims to pioneer what they call the direct-to-consumer land model. They basically argue that the traditional way of buying land is slow, expensive, and completely outdated. In their framework, they aren't just listing land, they actually own it outright. And what that means for you as a buyer is that you're establishing a direct relationship with the owner. You're not dealing with some third-party broker, an agent, or any mysterious middlemen taking a cut.
When you put the new way side by side with the old way, the differences are pretty wild. Traditional models are usually hidden behind a ton of complex broker talk, layering in middlemen like agents, banks, and escrow officers. And that traditional route, it typically saddles the buyer with anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 in closing costs, plus a frustrating 30 to 60-day delay just to get the title. Oh, and you still have the high risk of a loan rejection. In contrast, this digital direct-to-consumer model claims zero hidden fees, instant digital processing, open APN and GPS data, and absolutely zero risk of loan rejection because of guaranteed financing. It is a fundamental shift in how the whole transaction is structured.
Now, the absolutely crucial point here is transparency. Even with all those slick digital conveniences, the company insists that the burden of verification is still an active process for the buyer. They give you the legal description and the APN for every single property, but they emphasize that you should independently verify this ownership with the county recorder's office before you pay a single dime. It's the classic rule: trust but verify at the local government level.
All right, Section 3, how owner financing works and the actual mechanics of buying.
You might be scrolling online, see an offer to secure a parcel of land for just a single dollar down, and immediately, bam, your alarm bells start ringing. You're naturally going to wonder if there's a catch, right? How on earth can a company offer land with no credit checks and practically nothing down? Well, according to the source, the catch is actually your protection. And it's all rooted in the mechanics of owner financing. Since the company owns the land and has already vetted it, they let the land itself act as the collateral for the transaction. They don't need to dig into your personal credit history. This structure turns the entire purchase into a simple, straightforward contract between two parties. It effectively completely bypasses the invasive data sharing that big traditional banks usually force you into. Let's head into our final section, Section 4, Remote Due Diligence, or how to inspect land right from your living room. So how do we ground this abstract online process in physical reality? Because in 2026, you shouldn't have to fly across the country just to safely view a plot of land. Buyers are provided with drone overlays, letting you see the exact boundaries and the literal terrain straight from the air. Next up, you get actual property pictures taken by examining teams right there on the ground. And importantly, they provide street-level access data. This is huge because it lets you essentially scout the property virtually. You can see exactly what the road looks like, spot the nearest power pole, and check out what utilities are available in the area, all without ever leaving your couch.
But listen, safety isn't just about looking at pretty pictures. It is all about that back-end infrastructure. Beyond the visual scouting, they put a massive emphasis on a highly secure digital payment system. We're talking industry-standard encrypted gateways, the exact same high-level security used by major banks. Furthermore, they guarantee a concrete paper trail. Every single purchase is backed by a professional land contract or warranty deed, and the actual recording of that deed with the county is completely handled for you, ensuring your ownership is official and totally uncontested.
So, bringing it all back to our very first question, is it safe? Well, the source's ultimate verdict is clear, and it really boils down to this quote: "Buying land online is safe only if you trust the source." Digital real estate is secure, the processes are incredibly streamlined, and the direct-to-consumer model strips away a lot of those old friction points. However, the burden of vetting the company, verifying that APN, and making sure they actually have a transparent reputation, that still remains firmly on your shoulders as the buyer.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this to chew on. Look at how the entire landscape of property ownership is shifting right beneath our feet. I'd encourage you to really weigh LandLimited's direct-to-consumer safeguards, the verifiable APNs, the owner financing, the encrypted infrastructure, against your own personal comfort level when it comes to big digital transactions. Are we truly witnessing the end of traditional real estate middlemen, or are we just stepping into a wild, highly digitalized new frontier of buyer beware? It is a genuinely fascinating evolution of the market, and for sure, something we all need to keep our eyes on.